What happened today with President Biden was just mind-boggling. If I was President Putin sitting in Moscow, I probably would have thought, well, I don't feel any threat from the United States. I'm going to go in. Basically, what happened is President Biden gave the impression that the sanctions or the retaliation from the West on Russian incursions into Ukraine would depend what they do. At the top end of the scale, if they do a full invasion, then full sanctions will come. And if it's just cyber attack, well, it'll be a lesser kind of response. So mind-boggling. But then very quickly, the White House press office clarified his position, saying, no, that's not what he meant. But he actually, I think, said it twice. So this adds to, I think, what is a very confusing, chaotic act of diplomacy from various countries, including my own in Canada. Our foreign minister was in Kyiv today, and the best kind of sense of warning or anger she could come up with Moscow said, we are very concerned. Well, that kind of rhetoric doesn't work very well with Mr. Putin.
So in the end, what clarification was made? Joe Biden says Putin will be held accountable if he does move on Ukraine, but what does that mean now?
So what they've said is that no matter what the incursion is, this is still a territorial grab, which is what they should have said all along, and that if it is on whatever scale, a cyber attack, a hybrid warfare, or a full land incursion, the coordinated statement from the West has always been lately that the sanctions will be very severe. But having said that, I think Russia is one of the most sanctioned countries in the world at the moment. They've, to a certain extent, inoculated themselves against Western sanctions. So I don't know if that's much of a deterrent at the moment.
Well, Joe Biden's concerned that a Ukraine conflict could have broader implications and could get out of hand. Can you explain what he means by that?
So I'm not quite sure what was in his mind, but I think the strong message that needs to come out from all Western capitals, including Canberra, is that an attack on Ukraine, a democracy, is an attack on all Western democracies. And, Russia has already illegally annexed Crimea in 2014. It invaded eastern Ukraine a few months later. And now to make another territorial grab, and probably a pretty big one, would be something that will reverberate around the world very quickly. I don't want to panic people, but this, given all of the military muscle that is facing each other right now, this could end up into a very, very serious military confrontation. One more quick thing, Russian troops and manpower are now in Belarus, near the border with Ukraine, and that is a very short distance relatively from the Ukrainian capital, Kyiv. So that gives even more concern. People should be more concerned now.
And how united is NATO in its response to Russia's moves where Ukraine is concerned?
Well, in terms of NATO, I think Ukraine has for the longest time now felt it's been thrown under the bus because it's not being granted NATO membership. President Biden has made that clear. And I'm also getting the sense that in Europe, there is division in terms of how strong the sanctions should be. Don't forget, the Germans are about to inaugurate a new Russian gas pipeline that will bring gas to gas-starved Europe. And if President Putin politicizes that pipeline and turns the gas off, Europe will be very quickly brought to its knees. So that is why I'm thinking that there's not the unity that we should have right now. But having said that, look, sanctions are not as effective as they used to be because, again, Russia has very much inoculated itself against sanctions. It's coordinating now much more with China, with Xi Jinping, in terms of creating a closed-loop economic trading system that is less dependent on the West. So I think they're feeling a sense of bravado in Moscow, and we can't rule anything out at the moment.
Just finally, how optimistic should we be about US-Russian talks in Geneva on Friday?
Well, look, we already had a lot of talks. I think it's time to stop the talking and start acting. And what do I mean by that? I mean sending weaponry to Ukraine, although that is quite late because it takes a while to absorb new weaponry, doing everything it can to deter Mr. Putin, but also to prepare the Ukrainians for a very, very serious invasion. Ukraine, I know from talking to Ukrainian officials that they feel that they haven't got the support of the West that they should have. And it almost feels like the West is playing catch up with this crisis. So, again, we should prepare, hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. But I have a very strong feeling that some kind of incursion could happen at any moment now.
Michael, thanks so much for your analysis.
My pleasure.